Somebody who has spoken to us before. Many of you remember Dauv Evans the last time he was here and gave a very good and enjoyable talk. And we are lucky now to have him back again. And I know we're all looking forward to hearing from him. Dauv is the founder and has the title of Chief Success Officer of Keen Advisors. He specializes in personal and professional development. He has a background in higher education and corporate training. He has a PhD in leadership in higher education from Capella University, an MBA from University of Phoenix, and a BA from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. He also teaches undergraduate business and history. He enjoys traveling around the country, sharing his work with others and helping them become better at life. So maybe he can do a little of that for us today, which would be nice. But his subject today is Black Religion, the Gift and the Curse, an intriguing title. And so I know we're all looking forward to hearing what he has to say. So, Dauv?
How's everybody doing today? You know what, you can just fine? Yes? Okay, get on the mic.
You can walk around with that. Just keep it right in front of you.
Good?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, excellent. Let's see. Thank you so much for having me, first of all. And I have to say that today's topic may not be as inspirational. Not to say it's going to be a downer. May not be inspirational. I just finished a book called The Emancipation of Black Atheists. So the book chronicles my journey out of religion, my growth out of religion, as well as it explores the relationship between my voice. It explores the relationship between religion and the Black community. So very interesting book. I'm finally glad that I'm done with the book. But because of it, I had a lot of questions and a lot of great feedback. And again, I'm glad to actually come here and share maybe just a couple of nuggets and a couple of stories from the book. So one thing that I noticed is with that relationship between religion and the Black community, there was a couple of interesting things that I noticed. I found that the relationship had a lot of ups and downs, very tumultuous. And I couldn't help but to look at it almost like a gift and a curse, kind of like a fruitcake. So real quick, for show of hands, anybody ever received a fruitcake as a gift? Just ever in life? Yes. Nice, okay. So you'll
Anybody ever give one?
That. Say it again?
Did anyone ever give one?
Yeah. There you go. Fruitcakes. If you can imagine, just like most of you, I detest fruitcake. Alright, so people here share my sentiment for fruitcake. But one day I was given a fruitcake by a friend. You probably wonder what does fruitcake have to do with religion. I'll get to that in a second. So I was given a fruitcake by a friend. And I don't like fruitcake. And this friend is no longer a friend because of that action. But I had to do something with the fruitcake, is the most important thing. So I couldn't bring myself to throw it in the trash. Because food was perfectly good, it wasn't rotten or anything. So I should have incinerated it, but instead, I gave it to an unsuspecting coworker. Now the ambivalence on the face, you can tell that they took it and they really want it. I told them I made it. So I came back to haunt me. So about a week, maybe a week and a half later, we had a holiday party at work. And of course, we had the good old gift exchange. And lo and behold, what gift did I get? I got the same fruitcake from a different coworker. Fruitcake had some traveling going on. So we had a family gathering, family holiday gathering, maybe a few days later, and we were required to bring something to eat. I can't cook. And I had this fruitcake So I brought the fruitcake. And I left it there, and I brought it to the holiday party, I left it on the counter. Nobody ate the fruitcake at all. So I figured maybe if I just take a little sliver and make it look like somebody actually got to it, I'll trick others to want to maybe motivate them to eat the fruitcake. So I took a little sliver, ate the fruitcake. Nobody else touched the fruitcake. But guess who got food poisoning the next day? This guy. Gift and a curse. So when I was writing about religion and the Black community, I couldn't help but to think about that interesting experience. Much like the fruitcake, this special thing, this thing that we all know is religion, more specifically Christianity, was given to slaves a long time ago, almost as a gift. Almost as a gift. Slavers really felt like they were doing their duty, not only by reshaping a country and again kind of molding it into their image, if you will, but also by enlightening these heathens, these barbarians, and giving them this gift of religion. You should get to know Jesus. It's a good thing. It's not meant to be bad at all. This gift also came with the added bonus of the slavers noticed that the slaves who did convert to Christianity typically were a little bit more amenable to their new subservient status. Just an added bonus. Sorry. Oh, that's okay. Is that my time already?
No. You must turn off an alarm and turn it on. Sorry.
So if you think about it, if you were a slave, that was a great exchange. Now, if you're a slave, if you're on the other end, why would you want to finally give in and accept Christianity? You already have your culture, you have your religion, you have your ways. It wasn't easily accepted. Of course, they fought. There was a lot of back and forth. But there was a couple of incentives to finally giving in and accepting this gift of Christianity. First of all, as you can imagine, the slaves noticed that some of the slaves that finally did give in and accepted Christianity didn't receive as harsh a punishment as those who did not. So it's a bit of an incentive if you're watching other slaves receive preferential treatment almost, if you will, because they were able to convert and become Christian. If you pause, then the other thing that they would notice is eventually subsequent generations who had been there so long and knew nothing about the traditions and their religion, eventually knew Christianity as the norm. That's just what it was. From the time they were born, it's always been there. So of course they had no trouble, not necessarily converting, but they were born into Christianity. Now, the interesting part is, for Christians, this was a gift. This was, if nothing else, a brief reprieve from the laborious, day after day, sun up to sundown work you might have to do. This gave you an opportunity to do something that was illegal, like maybe learn how to read. For many slaves, the book, the Bible, was literally the first book that they would use to learn how to read. This is a gift. If it wasn't for this one book, there would be no other options. This was the only option. So using this as a time to maybe learn how to read, reorient yourself back to your community, right? Regain those social bonds that are lost while you're just working. This is a gift. This is an opportunity that we otherwise would not have. This is a great incentive to eventually adopting this new practice, Christianity. It starts to become something that's looked more so as a positive than a negative, right? It's more of an incentive to eventually kind of take on this new strange religion, which didn't necessarily sound like it might be true. But it'll give you a break, allow you to make secret plans, maybe to escape, if nothing else. This gift started to look a little more appealing over time, unlike the fruitcake. Let's fast forward years later, and 100 years after slaves were freed, civil rights era. Christianity played a major part in the right that black people were trying to receive. To gain equality, Christianity really provided a foundation and a context for what it is to have a peaceful movement, if you will. Most people are familiar with Martin Luther King Jr. One of the more prominent figures is
Let's see if we're going in now. Let's see if that one's
Yes.
better.
Do you hear me? Yes. Most people are familiar with Martin Luther King Jr., who was obviously a prominent figurehead in the civil rights movement. He was also the first leader of the SCLC, that's the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. So, in that particular case, this is yet another organization that's rooted in Christianity that has such a prominent place in the civil rights movement. Christianity almost provided a context that everybody can relate to, right? It gave us a vernacular and stories that we can all relate to. It gave us a foundation in the theme of the civil rights movement, right? Like love, compassion, empathy, brotherhood, patience, lots of patience. With that theme, Christianity was able to gain an even larger foothold in the black community. Christianity and black people almost became synonymous. One or two almost the same. Fast forward to today, where you might see low graduation rates, high school and college graduation rates among African Americans, high teen pregnancy, high HIV infection, high incarceration rates. The answer, the solution that you may see every Sunday, if you go to any black church, will almost be the same. Jesus. We will Jesus our way to where we want to be. It's a common theme that we've seen throughout history, and it's no different today. The interesting thing about this is when you look at what Christianity has done for African Americans throughout the years, it really does start to look like a gift. So where is the curse? Like what's so negative about the experience? It's provided emotional and psychological support throughout very trying times, throughout the years. It's provided a foundation for communities to work from in order to gain equality. What's so negative about it? What would you want to change? Why change anything about it? I once read a quote. Someone said, when white America gets a cold, black America gets the flu. The author was attempting to accentuate the effects the different effects that two communities might feel based on the same negative phenomenon. Like they said, like a housing crisis or something along those lines. So, assuming that Christianity or religion in general has any issues, has any problems, then when white America has a Christian code, then black America has Christian cancer. Example. Anybody heard of paralysis by analysis? Anybody heard the term before? Right? So like thinking so much that you don't make a move, hesitate too long. What about paralysis by praying? No? No one's ever heard that one? I just made that up just now. The phenomenon may have been around forever, but that thing was just around. Matter of fact, I'm gonna actually I'm gonna keep that one around. That's mine. So, but if you think about it, a lot of times when black men go through a particular tragedy, a particular situation, praying is the main answer. Not one of the answers, not necessarily, but just the main solution. That is the solution. some of the aforementioned issues I just spoke about a second ago, those have persisted for years, in some cases hundreds of years. Black Americans have been praying for years, in some cases hundreds of years. Paralysis by prayer. Financially, you might see that as a community, oftentimes Black people are lumped into a vast majority of the lower socioeconomic status, if you will. In that case, it's not very beneficial or advantageous for churches, in particular, mega churches, to, in such an almost elegant way, you almost have to give them their props in the way they have a great way of appealing to emotionality and appealing to their current state of affairs and talking individuals and congregants, the church, to giving their last dollar to tithe and not necessarily to maybe keep their lights on or to invest in themselves or to invest directly into their community. For some reason, they talk to you into investing in that extra wing for the church or the pastor's other Mercedes. Not the first Mercedes, the other Mercedes that he drives on the other weeks. That's especially damaging to many Black communities around the country. Lastly, identity. This one I found fascinating. It was huge. As I kind of mentioned earlier, Christianity, Black, almost synonymous when you look at the interesting relationship between the two. When you have an opportunity to eventually pull away from religion, as a Black person, pull away from Christianity, that's a no-no. Now I would assume it's always a no-no, right? You're always met with some type of adversity amongst maybe those friends and family. But it's so tied up in your identity and who you are. You're not only pulling away from religion, you're not only pulling away from your community and your friends, you're almost pulling away from what it is to be Black. How dare you? You said you did what? Usually if you tell them that you don't believe you're a non-believer, it'll usually be met with a question almost as if they did not hear you. You're a what? You did? You're not what? They really can't believe it. Like you just said that. Well, yeah, I'm not. Well, I don't believe anymore. I'm not necessarily Christian anymore. How dare you? Black people don't do atheism. What is that? That's not what we do. Did you just do that? When you pull away from that religion, that community, it can also sometimes be scary. I interviewed several individuals who went through a much more difficult time than I did. And it was scary not just because they were really testing the relationships from their family and their friends, but also a community that would typically support them, especially in those days, months, years, where they felt like the rest of their environment is not. So now you really feel like you're out there all on your own. You just turned your back on the last line of defense, if you will. How dare you? How dare you turn your back on the thing that has kept us, loved us, held us in high regard for so long? You, sir, you, ma'am, are getting your Black card revoked. It just happened. A Black card is a real thing. One thing I want to look at is, when I was writing the book, was again that relationship and what it looked like for Black people to not only remove themselves from religion, but also have an opportunity, again, to start over again, kind of start a life, whether it's with friends, family, the activities you do, sometimes even a new job, maybe even some of the relocating. What does that look like when you finally pull yourself away from an institution that has not only been in your life forever, but has been in your family's lives for generations, prominently there for generations? That's what we know is Jesus. The more adversity and the more tumultuous our journey becomes, the more of a reason we have to cling on to religion, to cling on to Jesus. Jesus, the one white man who has loved us unconditional forever. Jesus, the cure, the solution that was presented to us all those years ago by our architects of adversity. I wrote about a gentleman in the book who, a young man, maybe 27, 28, and I'm not a psychologist by any means, but anybody were to meet this gentleman, you would tell that he has some type of condition. If I had to diagnose him myself, I would say maybe he has some type of condition like Asperger's, for example. And I was able to meet him through a friend, and it's his friend's relative. His name is Calvin. Calvin lives with his grandparents. His grandparents are devout Christians. When I inquired about Calvin, because I was just curious, I inquired about, his situation. Has he gotten diagnosed? Is anybody taking him to see someone to find out what's going on, like what they can do for him, what type of help they can get him? Calvin doesn't work. Calvin stays in the house all day. Calvin has no friends. To our knowledge, he has no hobbies. He does go to church every Sunday with his grandparents. When I had the opportunity to interview him and grandmother and asked, what have you anytime in his life done anything for him to find out, what type of help you can get, anything at all, you can imagine what they did do for him. Every week in church, during altar prayer, they went to the front and they prayed for him. Oftentimes, a special prayer from the pastor, laying hands directly on Calvin to exorcise whatever demons may be inhibiting his personality and his growth. That was the cure. And it was said with a straight face, that is the cure. What else is there? I couldn't bring myself to say anything. Because although I know I would take different steps, that seemed like a curse. But the gift was for her, the emotional and psychological stability that she had, knowing that in her mind, she's doing all that she can do to help out her grandson. Some people may want to just take that gift from her. Give me this. Go see a psychologist. But how much would that break her heart, though? How much would that test her faith? Gift and a curse. It makes us feel so good to talk about one day when her grandson gets married and gets a job, has kids. He's far from that. But in her mind, he's just one step away, just one prayer away. How can you take that gift from somebody? You know what to give for them, but you may see it more so as a curse. Yet another hurdle. In this case, inhibiting Calvin from reaching whatever potential he may have. Almost 30 years old, and hasn't seen a fraction of the things maybe the average high schooler has had. Hasn't left the state, hasn't been on a plane, no social life. That's just one example. That's just one example. If black people are the most religious minority here in America, you'd imagine how many more examples, how many more Calvins there are, just with situations that are waiting and hindering on a prayer. I'm not waiting for anything else. That is my means to success. That is my means to equality. That is my means to reach my goal, is just the prayer. Just church. Exorcise the demons. And that's it. How much progress can be made that as the main cure, as the main solution. That's just one of the stories that I had an opportunity to write about. They got me thinking about mental health. Most men are afraid to go to the doctor. Are there any show of hands here who share that sentiment? I'm cheating my life. This is something that we see all the time, especially in the Black community. Now, you're afraid to go to the doctor. All kind of issues that might be affecting this individual. What's the main cure? What do you do then? How do you check to see if you have cancer? How do you check to see if you're healthy? Once a week, I teach a fatherhood class to fathers, most of them are Black, not all, most of them are Black, to fathers who are delinquent in child care payments. So we teach a fatherhood class, 12 weeks, and we talk about basic tenets of fatherhood and what it is to be a father and good helpmate, if you will. One of the weeks are on personal health. You can't imagine how many times I had to bite my tongue when they use Jesus as the solution. It's a government-funded program, so I don't say anything, just it's Jesus. But when we do personal health, that's always an interesting one, though. We talk about what's going on. Hey, guys, how many of you all, go to the doctor on a regular basis? So on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being great, and 1 being, oh my gosh, this is not great at all. How would you gauge yourself, in terms of how healthy you are? And all of the answers are, last time I've been a doctor was 1970 something, I don't even remember, right? Or I gave myself maybe a 3, 3.5, I did go to urgent care one time. These are the answers that I'm getting. So I said, well, then what do you do then? How would you make sure that you're gonna be around for your kids? Again, bring it back to fatherhood. How do you make sure you're around for your kids? What are you gonna do? I just wait on the Lord. Jesus got me. If I need to, Jesus will tell me when to go. Well, how come Jesus hasn't knocked on your door yet and told you to go? Me too. But these are the answers that I get on a regular basis. That's literally the answer, not Jesus and I'm waiting for or Jesus and I go to a specialist. No, just Jesus and the story. That's it. Black men's health on decline. The solution and answer, Jesus. I see it firsthand, once a week. Once a week. Interviewed a young lady for the book who was brave enough to finally pull away from religion. And she talked about how she battled depression. She battled insomnia. And for the longest, her mother would not take her to a specialist. She said, those are just demons in you. Get out of here. Just demons. Go away. Her friends even got together one time and did and just prayed for them. All laid hands on her and just prayed for her so she can, exercise the demons so she won't have depression anymore. She was having trouble in school, things of that nature. Do you think it worked? No, it didn't work. Eventually, she went away to college, and on her own volition, she went to go see someone herself about her depression, about the insomnia. Saw a specialist. She got those fixed right away. Those issues weren't affecting, no longer affected her or her academic progress. She's doing just fine. When she told her mother what she did, her mother was angry at her. I told you it was just demons. What did you go to a specialist for? Was that specialist recommended by the church? What did you go to a specialist for? Just demons. You recognize, when I study this, you recognize that religion has been very much a gift. Joy that it brings, the camaraderie, the community, the support, you clearly see on a regular basis how much of a gift it's been in the Black community. When you see some of the adversity that may be televised, whether it's police brutality or whatever it might be, you see people gathering around the churches. These little enclaves are all around the country that provide the necessary support that one would need if you were to go through any type of tragedy. But when this gift becomes the main solution and the main support for advancement, for progress, then it becomes okay to be patient and waiting. Because after you've prayed, and after we've shouted about it, and yelled, and danced in a circle, and sweat out our arm, then it's okay to just wait. And as long as it takes. We waited 400 years, what's another 400? What's another 400? These are some of the things I wanted to wrestle with in the book. What's the answer? I don't know what the answer is. But I certainly wanted to study the relationship between this gift and this curse that is very much still prominent today. And where it's going to be another 100 years from now, 200 years from now, your guess is as good as mine, but having the opportunity to talk to some people that have pulled away from, some African Americans that have pulled away from religion and had to start figuring out some of the things on their own without the guidance of a spiritual advisor, without fighting demons necessarily, still navigate life and still kind of make their way and overcome some of the very same challenges they had to overcome before when they thought